I'm going to section, but I'll show you as soon as I'm done. Let me just get it right. Just the hairline. I pulled out the hairline. So I have enough. Yeah, because I wanted some from the sides. You know, yesterday we had a demo where he parted the back out, not the sides. And that works. That's no problem. For me, I like to see the sides because my weight line is this. And for him, it worked out fine. And for her, I could have done that too. But I want to show you something different. I usually don't section with a V. I'll usually pull this down because I've sectioned in a V before and I've had bad experiences myself. Where I will start here and I'll do my V. When I bring down the sides, they're shorter. Now, for Rosas, that's not going to be an issue, but I just got out of that habit for that reason. I like to see where I'm going from and where I'm going to. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with the other way. This is just the way I chose to do it. So you can see how I sectioned where I have a good amount of hair all around. So I'm going to start creating the guideline, and I have to start it from the back. Because remember, what determines how high I can go is her hairline. So I'm going to start it in the back. I don't know how you guys, if you need to move to see, you can move. I also, remember, need to see, it needs to go to, when it's dry, it went to her chin. Actually, on that picture, when it was behind her ear, it went to her chin, which means I'm going to cut it a little bit longer than her chin. I could always go shorter. So if you look sideways, under her chin, to, you know, the hairline is not a very drastic A. There's not much difference. Look, that's the angle. Not a very drastic one. But when I do the graduation, then it's going to look more dramatic. Okay, so I'm going to ask her to look down. Make sure her legs are not crossed. Make sure she's sitting, you know, nice and square to the chair, not slouched. I want her all the way back and her legs not crossed and just bending down. I'm going to look underneath here and see where her hairline is. If I have to open up my cape, I will, but I can see it clearly. And back here, I'm going to take off almost all the blonde. So I'll go longer than I think. Always, I like to start in the middle. And like he did yesterday, just give myself a little half-inch section. Just to start. Now, I'm going to lift up and see where her hairline is. I'm pretty okay there, right? I don't have to shave anything. So that, and thank God I did it a little longer than I thought.
Without sectioning in a diagonal, how do you keep your consistency in your angle?
Good. Good question. Okay, so I established my guide here. Before I move on, I made sure that it was as high as I can go. Perfect. And then I'm going to come to the side and establish myself a guide here on the chin. And that's going to tell me where I'm going from and where I'm going to. So, and that's how I'm going to keep my angle consistent. But she has a little wave in her hair. So I want to keep it wet so I'll have control over it. Okay, you could look straight for a minute, Rosa. And I'm going to pull down one of the side sections here and give myself that guide. So we said to the chin, but I'm going to cut it a little longer. I'm going to give myself a snip. I'm even going to go longer than I think. When I go longer than I think, I'm going to imagine that she's got her hair kind of blown under like yours is with a little wave. Maybe she's going to put it behind her ear. And if she tucks it behind her ear, I think it's a little long still. So I'm going to go a little shorter than that. Now let's see. Maybe a little shorter. And this is her shorter side. Even though it's not going to be an asymmetrical cut, it's going to look asymmetrical. Because on this side, the widow's peak makes that front look longer. Because hair grows closer towards the eyebrow on the widow's peak. So it's going to, but on the side, I have none of that. From the side, it's just whatever side hair is going to fall. On the heavy side, I'm going to have side and top coming to this side. So it's actually going to make that side look longer, even though it might not be longer. So I didn't ask Rosa if she wanted it to be asymmetrical. Rosa, do you like where the shorter side is shorter, much shorter? Or, because that picture looked kind of even.
Yeah.
So keep it like that. Okay, so this is as short as I'm going to go here. I think that's a good length. Now I need to connect those two guides. You know, the color of your comb, the color of your cape will all help you or hurt you in your end result. Let me just stop right there. Okay, so you guys can see I've got one guide here, one guide here. I'm going to connect them. Okay, Rosa, can you look down? Now, I can't hold this guide. There we go. And if her head is not straight, I have to put her head straight, right? I can't cut just, you know, I need to make sure that we are in a good position. Since I can't see my guide, I can definitely point my fingers in the right direction. If I cut this way, and I continue to cut, obviously I'm not cutting in the right direction, right? I'm going to have a problem. But when I am cutting here, I'm going to predict where I'm going and angle my finger in that direction, because there's no way I can hold all of that. And sometimes I'll even hold it in a lower angle just so I don't make a mistake. Okay, and look at me here. Her shoulder is in my way, and it's making my shear not rest comfortably. But if I go this way, then look, my shear rests so much more comfortably. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut a little bit here and comb a little bit more. I think I'm headed in the right direction. Oh, the other thing with haircuts or, you know, shorter in the back and longer in the front, sometimes they're a sharp V, but usually they're a little rounded and then they come down. So if you want to start with the V first and kind of see how the hair goes, that's fine. But if not, you just go a little wider with your guideline, the middle one, straight across, and then from there start to angle it down. And I like the way that looks better because it's like round and then drama. So let's do that. So I'm gonna make it a little wider before I start adding the drama. My big comb is good, but it's not good for you guys to see. You know, a smaller comb, you'd have a better view. That's why I've been putting it down sometimes. And sometimes even for me it gets in my way, but I still like it. If the front is drying up, what is happening to that hair? It's shrinking, yeah. And my back is wet, so it's stretched out, so I need to make sure it's evenly wet. I can't just ignore that. Now, because I can't cut against her neck anymore, maybe I will hold it in my hand. But now there's a little bit of elevation. But that little bit of elevation is okay because it's going to be a graduated, it's going to be layered anyway. So it's not that I have to have like a precision ends because they're going to all be texturized. So now I can pick up the hair. You could look straight, Rosa. And now I'm getting closer to my guide. So maybe I can hold this. Yes, I can. Okay, her shoulder's in my way. I'm going to ask her to look at the whiteboard. And now I can go at a 0. Before I couldn't because of her shoulder. Her ear is there. Of course, the hair protrudes there a little bit. So I could allow for that by just kind of loosening up the tension right around the ear. Let me comb it better. So there's my guide, here's my little tension area. I'll just loosen it and connect my guides. First side is always easier than the second guide, than the second side. Okay, you could look straight. The second side is the harder one because now I've got to match it to the first side. I can't really measure this and say, oh, this is 2 inches, I got to make this 2 inches. I'm going to stand in front of her and I'm going to try to bring those two to the center if they reach. And notice when this one comes to the center, well, she's got some breakage here, so let's see, maybe that's not going to be an issue for us right now. Because I'm not cutting these strands yet. They're not reaching, I'm just cutting the bottom ones right now. So let's see. Because it's not reaching over to the center, I'm just going to kind of give myself a snip. If I was in front of a mirror, I would hold this piece with my finger, hold this piece and look in the mirror. And decide if it's even. But I know I left this one longer on purpose so that I can. Maybe you guys can tell me if I'm even now. So you look at my fingers is easier than to look at the hair. So I bring my finger to the bottom, bring my finger to the bottom. Are they even? Are they pretty even? Okay. If you could look down, Rosa. This way. So now here I'm in the middle. I already did this side. Before I go over too far on this side, I can give myself a little snip. I want to make sure that my back is even. So I've got kind of a little upside down U going. I want to keep that same shape going. So I started a little straight and then I started to angle down. I could have cut all the long length out first to get it out of my way, like the blonde. I could have just taken it, cut it off, the excess, and then gone to do this. That would have been maybe easier for you guys to see. Okay, so now, you don't have to look down anymore, Rosa, but because of the shoulder, can you look to the right? I can't hold all that, but I can hold my finger in the right angle. Now I can connect. I really want to make sure this guide is good. Because if my guide is not good, I'm going to follow it. The whole haircut won't be good. So I'm going to take my time here in perfecting it. Go short up there. Let's take one. Okay, so now I'm going to bring down the rest. I could, like I said, cut all of this off first. Should I?
Yeah, go for it. It'll be very satisfying.
It'll be satisfying to you or to you? So yeah, let me just take it off. Longer than I think.
Let's see. Yes.
Already it looks cute.
Right?
Yeah, it's going to be a great haircut.
She's getting the haircut, I'm getting the haircut.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
That looks cute on you already.
Yeah, she's going to be able to wear this real nice. Are you going to keep the blonde in your ends, or are you just going to grow out your color? She doesn't
For now.
No.
Who knows? Okay, so I already showed her how short it was here. It was pretty short. So she's already aware. I'm going to hold it straight back and look at the angle of my finger. I am predicting that I've got to get to this 0 down here, but I can't hold all that hair yet. And I am establishing my guide in this section. It might be too long still. I don't know, but I'm going to go for it, yes.
So you're cutting basically from the top instead of going from the bottom section.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter if you go top to bottom. I'm connecting the two guides. Whether I go from top to bottom or bottom to top, I'm still connecting the two guides.
And your fingers are not angled?
They
Straight?
are angled, yes, but I can't hold all that hair, so now when I get here, I'll be able to kind of fix my angle. Remember, this section is I am establishing my guide. I'm going back and forth with it till I get it right. Do you see now I can connect the two guides?
Yeah.
Can you see the top? I think I need to do a little bit something more, which is to hug the bottom more. So I'm going to angle my finger and go a little shorter right in this area here. Yeah, take this off. The color is going to be so pretty when you do this haircut on her because it's dark at the bottom. Now, if I'm trying to do this part and her back is in my way, I can't get as close as I want to because of her back, then I need to switch my position. My cutting hand was on the bottom and her back was in my way. But if I change my position, now my cutting hand is on top. I want you to be able to see it. You see my guide here and my guide for the length? So now I have no problem getting in there. So keep that in mind too, that your position makes a difference. Where you're standing, you guys can see, but on that one section I had to go the other way. Okay, so I'm going to go up and down my guide just to make sure that I've done a good guide, and I think it's good. So now I'm set. I'm going to pull everything back to the middle. And follow that guide. And what I could do to make it easier for me is this side that I'm not cutting, I'm going to clip it all out of my way. I'm going to pull every section. My fingers are not going to move from here, but her hair is going to come to my fingers. All of it will. Okay, next section. And did you notice, like with your haircut, I've got to let her hair fall wherever it wants to fall. If this piece is growing back, I'm cutting it in the back. If that piece was going to grow this way, I'm going to cut it with the guide on this side. So that when she leaves me and her hair does whatever it's going to do, which is if her hair grows back, it's going to fall back. So I'm going to let it do its thing and I'm going to cut it according to how it's falling. So pull that back. Look for fingertip and knuckle guide. I can see it. See it clearly, right?
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I finish the back, I'm going to stop and look. Okay, I'm getting, well, let me just do one more section and then I'm going to tell you what problem I might encounter if I'm not careful. So I'm pulling all that straight back still. Fingertip and knuckle guide. So my guide is here. Where is it? My zero, my weight line, is the shorter pieces. Let's say I pick up this section here. Right here, my hairline transitions. Her hair grows all the way down to here in the back and just starts up here on the side, just like everybody else's. So if I take this piece and I cut it and I layer it and I drop it, it might be higher, it might make a hole in my zero. So I have to drop my zero. And so I can't just drop here, my zero. I've got to drop it all the way around like I created it. So I'm going to drop that and then I will pull everything else back. Because if I don't drop it, again, I might have a hole in it. So, pull it back. There's my guides. Here on the side, same thing. I want to make sure that my zero is dropped. Maybe I dropped too much. That means I've got to pick that up. Pull that straight back. And when I do this, maybe these pieces are too long for her. Then I'll just go back and I'll cut them shorter. There we go. And my body posture is not where it's supposed to be. I'm just so that you guys can see I'm all hovering over it. But normally I would have been comfortable. I have to make sure I'm comfortable. Next section. Now, I want to show you something here. She has some breakage here. And on the other side on the bangs too. So I have to really watch this area to make sure that I am dropping enough, because I want that drama there. I might drop all of this, because do you see how that's going to help me get my zero? Even though that's a part of the top, watch, look at the difference. There's that one. But if I drop this piece, look what happens. Then I'm going to fix this, but it's going to thicken up the bottom of that. And I think I need to do that there. So drop enough of the zero. I can always cut it later. That's not a problem. Yeah, look at how much better that is if I drop all of that, because then I can extend this zero. So I'm not going to layer that back, but I'll pull all this back. I drop the zero, pull that back. Okay, before I do the other side, I'm going to check this side and see what's happening. And before I do that, I'm going to bring this down and extend my zero, my weight line, thicken it up a little bit. Okay, so let's see what it's looking like. And let's see if there's anything I need to do now. I'd rather do it now. Like if I need to go any shorter, I'd rather go shorter now than later. Okay, so let's see. Down here, maybe I need to layer this up a little bit more. I could see that. And I'm looking at her wave, too. You know, her hair, how is it reacting to this haircut? Right here, I think I'm going to do a little more.
Oh, wow, the blonde and the blush there makes it for a second.
It looks nice, though. I like the way it makes it look, the dark and the light. So I think it's okay. I think the length is okay. Of course, I'm not going to see totally until it's completely done, but I'm liking the length. Just right here, I feel like it's a little heavy, and the way her hair is curling up, I want to go in more there. So I'm going to do that. Getting dizzy with me turning. Okay. So if I want to get rid of the way these are bumping up, I'm going to keep my fingers real low. I'll just take a section, stay low. Remember how her back is in my way, her shoulders are in her, so I need to go this way. Stay low and see what I can do. Yeah. I want to take that off because that's, and if I wanted to, I could point cut that. Yeah, I want it to hug a little lighter. But I need to be careful around this transition area. So the transition area, I will move it over and then cut it. And yeah, the blonde is making it a little, or the color is making it a little trickier. Let's go a little bit more. Make sure I'm dropping enough of the zero. Yeah. Okay, that's better. And then later I might even do more. Okay, so that side is done. Do the same on the other side, so I'll turn it this way. You guys can see. Your hair is curlier than I thought, Rosa. Okay, this side. If I pull this straight back, I'm going to cut it too short. When I cut this side, I didn't pull anything straight back to cut it. I kind of combed it this way to cut it. So that gave me length on the sides. So same thing here. I'm not going to take this straight back. I'm going to just take sections and bring it, kind of swoop it back. So it gives me length.
Does part of that also come hand in hand with how her hair is dropping?
Yes, yes. But because it's a side part, side parts, you know, they're bringing it to the side, so for sure I'm going to swoop that back. First section might be okay, to bring straight back because that's still part of the crown. I'm not on the side hairs yet. I'm still on these strands. So my top guide, my bottom guide, and cut. And I'm a comber. I like to comb until I get nice even tension. Like I won't cut unless I really have that nice even tension. Here's her back. It's in my way. I can't cut here, so I'm going to switch. My hand now is on top. I'm still not on the side yet, so I'm pulling it. I'm still kind of combing, swooping it to the back. There's my top guide, my knuckle guide, my see-through guide. Can you guys see it? And notice every time I'm palming my scissors, get in the habit of palming. Now I'm coming to the side, so now I'm going to swoop it. I'm not combing it straight back for sure. So I'm going to swoop it back. Knuckle guide, fingertip guide. When you leave length, it might be a good idea, it might be a bad idea, but you can fix it. If I didn't leave the length, there's nothing to fix it. It might be too short. So it's okay to cut longer than you think and go back. Because you really have to see how the hair reacts to what you've done. This haircut is going to be pretty short for her to, you know, flat iron it or curl it in the back. So it's got to kind of lay nice by itself. The front, yeah, she could flat iron and blow dry and whatever she wants to do, but not the back. So I might really go in and texturize it later, I don't know. Here's the side. Definitely need to transition area. Definitely need to drop enough of my zero, that one that I did earlier. Drop it before I layer it. And because this is the heavier side, I think I'm going to go ahead and do a thicker zero. Because her hair color, too, is so blonde that you're not seeing a nice solid line at the bottom. Not always do you have to see a nice solid line, but I'll give her this option, and then I can always break it up and make it texturized a little bit more if I needed to. So I'm going to drop all that and swoop this back. Last section. So same thing as on the other side. I'll show you guys. This is not a part of her zero. But because there's a little bit of breakage here, I'm going to comb that down. I'm going to make it part of her zero just so I can have that extra length in the front, like I did on the other side. Will you put that?
Her waves are benefiting that style in the
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, because even in the picture that she showed us, it's got a lot of movement. It's not a sleek, straight haircut. So you see, that helped my zero by doing this.
Can you turn her so we can see that?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna blow dry her and style her. Definitely, I want to see it.
It looks so good.
So here, there's. Should drop more. Yeah. Did you guys see that? Look, watch. When I picked this piece up, there was a hole in her zero because these are broken. So I was gonna layer that, but then watch, when I drop this piece, look how much better that is. So I'm not gonna layer that. Did you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
You saw something like that on your feet. Watch your feet, Rosa. Let me show them. Totally expected, and you need to tell your client if they want to go bleach blonde, you tell them you're going to lose a good percentage of your hair through breakage. That's just the way it is. There's no way around it. And you tell them worst case scenario, and then they'll be okay with it. But if you tell them I'm going to bleach your hair and I'm not going to damage it at all, that's not true.
It's not.
It's not true. So let me take a look, because I haven't seen it yet. And I like to shake it and see what's happening. And the color is throwing us off a bit. But you see how it's blonde and dark?
Yeah.
I'm going to take my thinning shears and go over the blonde to help it blend into the dark. So it's not a black and white kind of situation. It'll kind of blend it. So I can do that to help the color blend better. And I'm liking this side. This is good, so I'm going to check the other side. Again, after we dry it, we could always do something about it. It's got a little cowlick here that's pushing it this way. Can you see that? Let me show you. It's kind of doing this. So it's going to do that. No matter what I do, it's going to do that. This side's a little limp and straight, so I'm going to texturize it a little bit. You might have to change a few things around, so that's okay. You wouldn't know it until you got into it. There's a long piece here I'm going to take care of. There's something here I see that I want to take care of, but I might not do it with my shears. I might do it with my thinning shears. Not too much, because her hair is already fine. I don't want to break it up too much. Where it's blonde.
Yeah, but it's doing its job.
It's, yeah, do you see how it's softening the connection?
Really good.
But this side doesn't need it, so I don't have to do here. I'm gonna do
drama.
I'm sorry?
That's where you get the drama and the color.
Yeah.
I have a question. So I noticed that she has breakage in the front
Yeah.
of her hair. What if your client is saying, "Okay, well, I want to blend it"? How would you? I don't know if there's. I don't think there's really a way to blend it unless you get bangs.
Yeah.
But
That's a good question,
is there
though.
a way to like?
Yeah.
You know how you did how you like
Balanced it out in the
yeah,
front.
how you
Yeah.
did my hair, how you kind of just like
Yeah.
line my face.
So her question is, she's got a little breakage here. If the client says, I want to connect that. So my first thing would be maybe tape in extensions. I would, instead of trying to fix it, I would try to maybe fix it with a few extensions, because that's the drama of the haircut. And this is the most important part of the haircut. And actually, if she had thicker hair here, that would be okay. So I would maybe offer that first. But if that's not an option for her, then yeah, I would take and kind of slide cut, yeah, all the front. And maybe even, like sometimes when you do this haircut, you can take one section on top here and kind of really go in and point cut. I'm not going to do it on Rosa because her hair is fine. But let's say this was just too long and too heavy. If I lift just the top, to give her almost like layers, but not really, I could take just the top and I could open my shear slightly and go in and kind of notch some pieces out. So she's going to have some short pieces here on top, and the long pieces. The long pieces are not going to take away any of the drama or the style, but the short pieces will give her that movement, and that way she'll have a little bit more movement. Like I think we could do that on yours, because hers is long and it's heavy here. If she wants more movement, then we can do a little bit of that there. Okay, I think I'm going to stop here until I style it and see what's going on, because I really can't tell yet if it's enough or if I need to do anything else. So let me style it for her. Here I'm seeing a little thickness. So I'm just going to do a little bit of point cutting or texturizing, because it laid down pretty thick. It still is. Let me do my thinning shears. Let me show you what I'm working on. That blonde line. That blonde line right here.
Yeah.
So I'm point cutting with the thinning shear. I'll do it once, see what happens. It helped. Can you see how it helped? But there's still a little bit more. Maybe I'll just pick up this piece and do it, because that piece seemed like it was still, yeah, and that's better, yeah?
Much better.
It softened it.
Yeah.
We brought some pieces from the other side over, Mrs. Ellie, so that we could cover up the little breakage underneath here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I like that.
What's okay, because I'm just trying to
I like that the texturizing.
And when you sleep tonight, sleep like this.
Yeah.
All
Can't
my
even
family
see
is
the
so
little
French.
breakage.
Oh,
Oh, sorry,
it's
baby.
okay.
Oh, sí. No necesitas ni maquillaje ni nada.
No, ¿verdad, mija?
Sí.
Yes, thank you, Misa.
You could wear this totally here.
Very nice.
Okay.